There are many cultures with amazing customs, but there is a place in the world where polygamy is accepted, to the point that there is an ancient tradition in which the king can choose a wife, during a party in which thousands of virgins come to his palace to dance around him with very little clothing. In this new video of Uncensored World, we will know in more detail Eswatini, one of the most unknown and smallest countries in Africa, but also the most fascinating and enigmatic on the planet. A nation with unique curiosities such as measuring the wealth of its inhabitants by the number of cows, being considered the smallest country in the southern hemisphere, or having one of the few absolute monarchies in the world, a situation in which political parties are prohibited, and in which the king has absolute impunity, and so much power that he has 14 wives and more than 30 grandchildren. Eswatini is also home to the Swazi community, an ethnic group that is such a majority here that until recently this country was known as Swaziland. A place with such extraordinary traditions as the Umhlanga, or Dance of the Reeds, in which thousands of young Swazi girls gather every year in a sensual dance to pay homage to the Queen Mother, in order to be chosen as wives by their king. A country where having several wives is common, and where the number of wives a man can have often depends on the amount of cattle he owns, since cows are not only a symbol of wealth and power, but also serve as a dowry. Pay attention and don't miss this video because, in addition to these fascinating curiosities, this country contains unique natural wonders and wildlife that you will now get to know. Let's get started. Located in the heart of southern Africa, Eswatini is the smallest country in the southern hemisphere, with an area of approximately 17,364 square kilometers. To put its size in perspective, Eswatini is roughly the size of Belgium or countries like El Salvador, highlighting its compact geography. With a population of close to 1.2 million inhabitants, this small kingdom stands out for its rich culture and unique history, with a past full of mysteries, ethnicities, tribes, and surprising traditions that you are now going to learn about. A very curious fact that says a lot about its population is that, until 2018, Eswatini was known internationally as Swaziland, in honor of the majority ethnic group in this country, the Swazi community. However, on the 50th anniversary of the country's independence from British rule, King Mswati III announced the change of name to Eswatini, which means the land of the Swazis in the local language, modifying the Anglo-Saxon appellation for a more particular term, known to its inhabitants. This change was seen as an act of cultural reaffirmation, emphasizing national identity and Swazi pride. The population of Eswatini is mainly composed of the Swazi ethnic group, which constitutes approximately 85% of the population, one of the most fascinating ethnic groups in Africa that we will now get to know in more detail. The Swazis are part of the Bantu people, who migrated to southern Africa from the north in past centuries, settling in this region and forming a kingdom under the leadership of their monarchs, a people with a rich cultural heritage, who maintain traditions that make them unique in the African context, such as the Dance of the Reeds or of the Virgins that you will soon learn about. In the 18th century, the Swazis consolidated as an ethnic group and began to form an organized kingdom, which became a political entity in the 19th century under the rule of King Sobhuza I. During this time, they developed a sense of national identity that endures to this day. The Swazis are recognized throughout for their courageous history as warriors. Traditionally, they have defended their land and culture with a fighting spirit, using sophisticated war tactics to protect their sovereignty. At ceremonies, it is common to see Swazi men dressed in leopard skins and elaborate ornaments that symbolize their bravery and their connection to their ancestors and their past. This attire, along with the colorful garments worn by the women, highlights the Swazi cultural richness and identity, as well as pride in their warrior history. The Swazi social organization is also manifested in their political and family structure. In the 18th century, they began to consolidate as an ethnic group under the leadership of their monarchs, forming a kingdom that became an organized political entity in the 19th century, under the rule of the first king Sobhuza. Throughout its history, Eswatini has been influenced by its geographical location, experiencing realities such as British colonization in the 19th century, when the British established indirect control over the territory. During this period, the Swazis struggled to maintain their sovereignty, facing external pressures and seeking to preserve their culture and traditions. Throughout the 20th century, the region experienced the influence of apartheid in South Africa, although Eswatini was not part of this system of racial segregation. However, the struggle for independence and self-determination intensified during this time, with movements seeking to free the country from British colonial influence. Eventually, they achieved independence in 1975, although King Sobhuza II maintained absolute control over the government, dissolving parliament and establishing an absolute monarchy, claiming that Western-style democracy was unsuitable for Swazi culture. Because of all this, Eswatini is today one of the few countries that still maintains an absolute monarchy. Since then, the system of government in Eswatini has remained authoritarian, although some reforms have allowed for parliamentary elections. However, political parties are still banned today, and the king's power is almost total, meaning that major decisions are made without the participation of elected representatives. Absolute monarchy implies that the king has total control over the country's government and decisions. Unlike democratic systems where power is distributed and citizens can choose their leaders, in Eswatini, the king is seen as the ultimate authority, both politically and spiritually. This means that laws and policies are dictated based on his will, and his word is law. Although the monarchical tradition is deeply valued in Swazi culture, the concentration of power in a single figure has generated tensions in society, with some sectors calling for democratic reforms and greater rights for citizens. This panorama reflects the complexities of a country seeking to balance its rich cultural heritage with the pressures of a modern world that demands more participation and transparency in government. As you can see, the reality of one of the most extraordinary and rare countries on the planet has a lot to do with its monarchy, and a good part of Eswatini's curiosities also have to do with it. For example, King Sobhuza II, father of the current King Swazi III, had one of the longest reigns in history. He ascended the throne in 1899 and ruled until his death in 1982, that is, 83 years. It was during his reign that Sobhuza II led Eswatini from colonial times to independence, leaving an indelible mark on Swazi identity and traditions. Throughout his rule, Sobhuza II focused on the preservation of Swazi culture and the defense of national sovereignty, becoming a symbol of resistance to foreign domination. Under his rule, efforts were made to consolidate royal power and foster a sense of national identity that endures to this day. With realities as surprising as its traditions, or controversial practices such as polygamy, which is still legal in this country today, Eswatini reflects a world where culture and history are deeply intertwined. Being able to have several wives is a deep-rooted and common tradition in Swazi society. But before going in depth about this practice, it is good to know some of the most curious and precious places in this country. One of the best ways to delve into Swazi culture is to do so in places like Bulembu. This picturesque town is located in the mountainous region of Eswatini, near the border with South Africa. It is known for its stunning natural surroundings, which include vegetation-covered hills and breathtaking panoramic views. Historically, Bulembu was linked to the asbestos industry, which flourished in the region for much of the 20th century. However, despite its industrial past, the town has evolved and transformed into a charming destination with a strong focus on sustainability and ecotourism. Another must-see for any tourist in Eswatini is its capital Mbaban, which is located just a few kilometers away from Bulembu. In Mbaban, visitors can explore local markets, enjoy Swazi cuisine, and learn more about daily life in the country. In the heart of Eswatini, You will also find the royal palace, which is the official residence of the king and his family. This impressive palace is surrounded by beautiful scenery and reflects traditional Swazi architecture. Although access to the palace may be restricted, its magnificence can be appreciated from nearby, and it is a symbol of the cultural heritage and history of the Swazi monarchy. Once a year, in September, one of the most controversial and extraordinary traditions on the planet takes place in the royal palace: the Umhlanga ceremony, or the Dance of the Reeds, an event in which thousands of young virgins come from various localities of the country to pay homage to the royalty through dances in which they wear provocative traditional costumes. A celebration that also offers the king the opportunity to choose wives among the participants, and soon you will know. But before that, it is good to go into the detail of another controversial reality in Eswatini, that of polygamy. It is good to know that this practice is not only based on cultural customs, but also makes logical sense within the Eswatini social structure. In many Swazi communities, polygamy is related to wealth and status, as the number of wives a man can have is often associated with the amount of livestock he owns, a curiosity we will soon go into detail on. Apart from cattle, this practice of having several wives can provide economic and social stability, as well as strengthen family and community ties, which is why in Eswatini, it is not only legal, but also socially accepted. One of the best examples of this tradition is found in the current king, Swazi II, who has 14 wives and more than 30 grandchildren. His situation is emblematic of the cultural norm in Eswatini, where being able to have many wives is not only accepted, but also celebrated as part of Swazi identity. Perhaps the most striking aspect of this reality, though, is the way in which some of their ancestral traditions serve the king in choosing wives. Traditions such as the reed dance, known as Umhlanga, bring together thousands of young Swazi girls who travel from all corners of the country to dance around the king, often dressed in provocative traditional attire and with very little clothing. The Umhlanga is one of the most important and emblematic ceremonies of Eswatini. This celebration is held annually and gathers thousands of young Swazis who come from various communities in the country to pay homage mainly to the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother of Eswatini is a central figure in the country's culture and politics. Traditionally, she is considered the mother of the nation, a symbol of unity and strength within the royal structure. The current Queen Mother is the mother of King Swazi III. The Queen Mother is not only a reference of motherhood and fertility, but also plays an important role in the country's politics, influencing key decisions and participating in ceremonies that celebrate Swazi cultural identity. The reed dance, or Umhlanga, has deep historical and cultural roots, being held annually to commemorate the purity and pride of young Swazi girls. This event is not only a display of beauty and tradition, but also has deep significance in the context of national identity. In its origins, the celebration served as an initiation ritual where young girls were presented to the community, giving the king the option, which is still the case today, to choose wives from among the participants. In this way, the ceremony symbolizes the continuity of Swazi culture and the legacy of the monarchy, strengthening the ties between the royalty and the people. Today, the festival continues to be a moment of great cultural relevance, where young Swazi girls not only honor the Queen Mother, but also celebrate their own identity and femininity. Through dances and rituals, participants demonstrate their energy and dedication to ancestral traditions, creating a sense of community and cultural pride. The ceremony symbolizes the purity and cultural pride of the young women, who dance half-naked, in colorful and short traditional costumes, often exposing their breasts and thus showing their beauty and virtues before the king and the community. As you now know, the dance is not only a celebratory event, but also an opportunity for the king to choose new wives from among the participants. For the young women, participation in the reed dance is an honor and a responsibility, and they are proud both to participate and to be chosen to be part of the future royal court. In preparation for the ceremony, They spend weeks rehearsing their dances and costumes, which highlights the cultural and social importance of this event. During the celebration, the young women perform coordinated dances that reflect their energy and vitality, while the Queen Mother observes and guides the participants. This tradition is a moment of great pride, as it highlights not only the beauty of the young women, but also their role in the continuity of Swazi culture. The event takes place at the Royal Palace and culminates in a series of dances in which the king, surrounded by dignitaries and members of the royal family, has the opportunity to observe the young women more closely and choose them. Through this tradition, the king not only chooses wives, but also reinforces his connection to the people and his commitment to the customs that have defined Eswatini throughout its history. The ceremony is a stark reminder that, despite the complexities of the modern world, cultural roots continue to play a fundamental role in the lives of Swazis. At this point, we would like to ask you, would you like to participate in this tradition or have thousands of young people dancing around you? What do you think about the ban on political parties, having many wives or dances like this? What surprised you the most about Eswatini? Pause the video and leave us your comment. You know that doing so is the best way to support Uncensored World, so that we keep working every week to bring you interesting content like this. So, thank you. As you have seen, the tradition and realities of Eswatini are really surprising and sometimes controversial. The same happens in a reality closely associated with this one you just met, in which men can choose several wives, many times thanks to cattle. Since the dowry or power in this region of the planet has a lot to do with cattle, since in this country, as you're now going to see, cows have a unique value in the world. The symbolic and economic value of cows in Eswatini is immense and is deeply rooted in the culture of the country, to the point of being associated with power and having much to do with the life and future of families. For in Eswatini, a person's wealth and social status are often measured by the number of cows he or she owns. These cattle not only represent an economic asset, but are also a symbol of respect and power within the community. Owning many cows is associated with the ability to maintain a large family and establish strategic alliances through marriage, which strengthens the individual's social network. In marriage ceremonies, cows play a crucial role. When a man wishes to marry, he usually must give a dowry in the form of cows to the family of his future wife. This act not only demonstrates the man's ability to care for his wife, but also strengthens the relationship between the families involved. The number of cows offered can vary considerably and can sometimes be a decisive factor in the choice of partner. In this way, cows become an essential component of the Swazi economy and marriage culture, reflecting the interconnection between social status, family relationships, and traditions. Not everything is positive about cattle, however, as the importance of cows can also give rise to controversy and tensions within communities. On some occasions, the value of cows has led to conflict, as families can become involved in disputes over dowry or ownership of cattle. In addition, the pressure to accumulate more cows can create economic inequalities, where those with fewer resources find it difficult to compete in the marital and social spheres, generating tensions not only between individuals, but also between communities fighting for control of resources. Despite these controversies, cows are also fundamental in various Swazi celebrations and rituals, such as the reed dance or Umhlanga, where their presence is a symbol of abundance and prosperity. In these traditions, cows are often part of the offerings made to the Queen Mother, reinforcing her status and that of the royal family in Swazi culture, as a means of expressing gratitude, respect, and connection to ancestral traditions. Unique realities such as the fact that one of the most majestic animals on the planet, the white rhinoceros, is also found in this small country. This circumstance makes Umhlanga Royal National Park one of the most outstanding destinations in Eswatini, famous not only for its rich fauna and exuberant landscapes, but also for being one of the few places in the world where visitors can encounter one of the most majestic and unfortunately endangered animals in the world, the white rhinoceros. Known for its large size and imposing horn, this rhino is a species that has suffered drastically due to poaching and habitat loss. Rhino horn is highly valued on the black market, which has led to indiscriminate hunting of these animals, seriously endangering their survival. The conservation of white rhinos in Umhlanga is a crucial effort, and the park plays a vital role in protecting this species through conservation and monitoring programs. In addition to the white rhinos, Umhlanga is home to an impressive variety of wildlife, including elephants, lions, and numerous bird species, making it an ideal destination for nature lovers and wildlife watching. Although this country is an attractive destination for its rich culture, traditions, and landscapes, it presents quite a few challenges in terms of security. Crime can be a problem, especially in urban areas, so visitors are advised to take precautions, such as avoiding displaying valuables and not walking alone at night. In addition, political tensions have increased in recent years, with demonstrations related to demands for democratic reforms, so it is advisable to stay informed about the local situation and follow the recommendations before traveling to the former Swaziland. To reach Eswatini, most travelers arrive by air via nearby international airports, such as Manzini International Airport, which offers limited connections. Travelers should inquire whether a visa is required. Many countries, including those in the European Union and the United States, can enter Eswatini without a visa for up to 90 days. It is advisable to check specific requirements according to nationality before traveling. Getting around within Eswatini is relatively straightforward, with transportation options including cabs, buses, and rental vehicles. Cabs are common and can be a convenient option, but it is suggested that registered cabs be used for safety. The main roads are in good condition, making it easy to access its many tourist attractions. Today, Eswatini boasts a unique blend of tradition and modernity, with a population that still values ancestral customs while navigating contemporary challenges. The combination of dazzling scenery, rich biodiversity, and the resilience of its people make Eswatini a fascinating place that remains a bastion of culture and tradition in southern Africa. Life in Eswatini is largely rural, with a large portion of the population living in small communities that engage in farming and herding. But their connection to the land is not only economic, it is also spiritual. Swazis often celebrate rituals that honor their ancestors and nature, reflecting their deep spirituality and respect for their environment. At Uncensored World, we hope that this tour of Eswatini has been as exciting for you as it has been for us. Thinking about it, and the effort it takes us to make these videos, we would love you to leave us a nice like, and also your comment, since that is the best way you have to help us to keep working every week to bring you the best content. If you enjoyed this video, and you are not yet subscribed, don't wait any longer and do it now, so you don't miss the fascinating videos we make every week. Videos like this one that you can enjoy now to know one of the most fascinating corners of the planet. Do not miss it and discover the wonders that this place has to offer.